Hello, YouTube. Welcome to my channel, Marriage, Politics, and Sports. R. Payne here, your favorite baby boomer. Hey, by now, everybody has seen the video clip of the 9 women who got kicked out of a restaurant because two unrelated black women were having a fight. And I have some thoughts on this video. And while we're looking at the short clips, a couple of minutes of news clip of it, is it discrimination or is it just black fatigue? Or it could be both. And, even though black fatigue is a made up term and discrimination is real, can one construct of black fatigue overtake the fact that outright discrimination has happened to these 9 women? And what's your feelings about it as a black person, honestly speaking, where our collective, not everybody, but our collective behavior is being characterized by the worst elements of our culture in music, in discussions, in relationships, and all that kind of stuff. And are these 9 women victims, or are they just victims of being their brother's keeper, being held accountable for the fact that we don't hold our worst people accountable? And so it's just their turn in the breach. And I have some more stuff to say about that when we come back. We're going to play the clip. And, it's a short clip. And we'll see the ladies. We'll see a little bit of the fight and all this kind of stuff. So here it goes. You tell me.
Now, a place in Chesapeake known for fine dining was the backdrop for some rude behavior that got physical. These images of 2 women fighting from earlier this month are making the rounds on social media. But the story is a group of 9 other women who say they were kicked out of the restaurant in what they call an act of discrimination. Markeisha Jackson has the story you'll see only on 10.
Okay, let's I know they got to say this shit on TV. But let's go ahead and concede that it's discrimination. Let's not act like it's not discrimination. It's racial profiling and it's discrimination. The question for this particular video that I submit to you is, should the rest of us really, really be outraged other than just kind of following the black code? Should we be surprised that some shit like this might happen? Or should we really be outraged and, talk about boycotts and all that kind of stupid shit, right? Because this happened to these 9 women. And did it happen to them out of a vacuum just because of the color of the skin? Or over the whole fucking country, we got black people acting like shit assholes everywhere. Everywhere. You know what I'm saying? And how is that never going to blow back on you? Me, you, and your mother, your father, your son, any of us. There's going to be blowback. So we got to weigh these things. So let's finish looking at this clip, because I feel sorry for the ladies, but at some point we got to be our brother's keeper.
That fight happened inside of Cork and Bull Chop House. After things settled down, a group of other women who were not involved in the fight were told they had to leave the establishment, a statement they feel was made based on the color of their skin. What was supposed to be a night of fellowship for this group of women
turned into a night of hurt, embarrassment, and pure humiliation.
The 9 women.
All 3 of those things are true. All 3. So don't get me wrong. All 3 of what she felt is absolutely true. Okay, let's go.
Had chosen to have a Friendsgiving dinner at Cork and Bull.
We only had time to order our drinks, and a fight broke out between 2 African-American women that had nothing to do with us.
Somebody break it up.
This is video of the altercation.
Yeah. See, that had nothing to do with us. It's true. You didn't know them, but their behavior rubs off on you. It just does. And, if it was an isolated incident, then I can dig it. But this kind of behavior is so prevalent. It's so prevalent that it rubs off. It's contagious. It rubs off. It's an airborne pathogen. You know what I'm saying? It's a visual pathogen that destroys us all. You know, how did these two ladies decide that they want to go eat in probably a restaurant that's not that cheap so they can get into a fight? Now, I don't know if they were sitting together. It looks like they were probably sitting together. And so they get into a full-blown restaurant. Who gets the biggest piece of steak? What the hell what you talking about there for? You got all these other patrons around. And okay, let's just finish the short clip and I'll say my little 2 cents.
The 9 women say it happened between guests at a table that was across the room.
I mean, the way other people were just trying to go about their own business, when you look at their faces, it's like this is like a 3D image implanted inside the restaurant. You know what I'm saying? People just say, "Oh shit, man!" But you know what? I didn't know I was going out for a dinner and a show, like medieval times.
2 women seen throwing blows ultimately left before authorities arrived. But somehow, restaurant staff thought these 9
God,
women who were still inside were somehow involved and told them to leave too.
So I asked why. And he responded saying, because you all like to fight. And they made us leave and get up.
Was he lying? Was he lying? Was he lying?
In front of all the other patrons in the restaurant.
We were really in like a negative spotlight at that moment, and it was all eyes on us. It was very embarrassing.
The 9 ladies.
All right, so let me ask you, black women, right? And this is what pisses me off. You could be pissed off at the restaurant, and rightfully so. But not one of these chicks in this thing has said, you know what, you 2 big fucking ladies fighting in a restaurant, you know, you got to take some of the blame for what we're feeling right now. Where's that at? You know what I'm saying? Where is that at? You know what? The restaurant was wrong, but I'd be pissed at those 2 fucking women who were fighting in the restaurant, disturbing everybody's peace. And not only did they disturb everybody's peace, they got you guys wrapped up and ruined your night. And ruined your night. You know? I mean, you know, at some point, we got to say, listen, you know what? We got to be bad. We could be mad at the people who discriminated against you. Absolutely. But you got to be somewhat mad at these 2 goddamn women for ruining everybody's peace in a restaurant. And you guys are victims of their belligerent and ratchet ass behavior.
These are now pursuing legal action. Their lawyer sat down with us.
Just because you have employees that might have made a bad judgment one night, that could turn into 2 nights, 3 nights, 4 nights. It has to stop.
The women say the restaurant staff has not reached out to provide an apology or update.
All 9 of these ladies were treated more harshly than the 2 people who were actually engaged in the misdemeanor action.
Their lawyer says they want accountability and justice.
We can say this is discrimination. We can say this violates the Equal Protection Clause. They have said enough is enough, and we're not going to take it.
Treat your customers with dignity and respect.
We did reach out to the owners of Cork and Bull Chop House as well as the general manager for comment, but we have not heard back. In Chesapeake, Markeisha Jackson, 10 on your side.
All right. So listen, I tell you this. You know, like I said, I have mixed emotions about this whole thing as well. Yeah, I really do. Okay, I mean, let's look at it. You know, we have plenty of black servers who go around and say, well, you know, you get a gaggle of black women around the table, they don't tip. I can almost guarantee you that in the back room, all of those waiters were probably fighting each other for not taking that table full of black women. It could be black dudes too, but I tend to see that black men in that level of echelon, like those ladies are, would probably tip probably better. But we have a stigma that we don't tip. And of course, we want to get the most out of our little dollar, right? And with the fight going on, I think that, of course, the restaurant was wrong. Discrimination happened. But the ladies didn't want to none of those servers probably wanted to serve that table anyway. They didn't look at that table and say, you know, we're going to get a great tip out of this. That's not what they were thinking. They were saying, this is my night. Whoever got that little section probably said, holy shit, man. You know, and you can get on my case for saying that, but it's not just a stereotype. Black people don't tip. They don't tip well, you know? And so that's that. And when you have a table that big, either the tip has to be mandatorily put into that. I would imagine that's what they do. If a table's that big, you got to put the tip into the check where you take it out of the hands. Now, one of the things restaurants need to do is tell people up front, if you got a table of 8 or 9, your tip is in the check. You know, if you're out to eat tonight, it's going to be 20% right off the top for a table that big. And if I was a restaurant, that's exactly what I'd do. So maybe it's not a tip issue, and maybe that part of it goes away because no matter how belligerent they are, the tip is in the bill. Now, but when it comes to fighting and when it comes to paying a bill, it's not unheard of that one lady had six steaks and 2 lobsters, and another lady at the same table just had a salad and some water. And now all of a sudden, you know, they have an issue over how to pay the bill. Well, how many damn videos have you seen of that? You know, so I don't say that these ladies were going to be into that kind of thing. But, you know, again, when we have so many people doing so many ratchet things, it's hard to say it's not going to rub off. And and the fact that there hasn't been an apology already from corporate or apology for at any level from, I don't think I'd be very surprised if any of those employees get fired, right? And I'd be very surprised if we see a big mea culpa from the corporation. People are just fed up. People are fed up. And you know what? And the rest of us who don't commit crimes, who don't act like shitholes out in public, you know, this stuff is starting to rub off. Because Black people are the biggest apologists for that kind of behavior. You know, I just think that's what that is. I think that's exactly what that is. I think that this made up term of Black fatigue is actually bleeding into what's real discrimination. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, this story would have been, you know, that corporation would have came out big time right away and said, this is not how we treat our employees, and we want them to treat our customers, we blah, 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 blah. Now, if you get one of the blackity blacks coming out and saying we should boycott that place, there'll probably be a line of white people around the block. They're happy that they can go to a restaurant without the possibility of some Black folks fighting in there. You know, I don't think it would work. I just don't think it will work. You know, so now whether they're going to just start randomly kicking Black people out, you know, on a daily basis. If they do that, then of course I think it'll just be bad business. It'll just be bad business. But that night, man, they were all shaken up, man. You know, you got two hyenas fighting in there. And you guys are just collateral damage. And that's the issue. Black people are starting to be collateral damage. The well-to-do Black folks are starting to be collateral damage because of the amount of ratchetness in our community. Anywhere, at any time, you know, indiscriminately and randomly, you just might happen to be in the wrong place, right place at the wrong time, or the wrong place at the wrong time, whatever it is. So Black fatigue is real. It just is. And yeah, I mean, and I don't know, I'll leave you with this and you guys can figure this shit out on your own. But I think it's a sad state of affairs that we're in. And, you know, I just think that I don't know how it's going to get better unless we start taking responsibility for it. You know what I'm saying? Somehow. And start speaking out on it when we see it. So I'll leave you with this and then I'm going.
In the shadows where the lost souls roam, secrets buried like a heavy stone, whispers echo in this silent night, drawn to darkness, searching for the light. Every step feels like a loaded gun, chasing dreams, but it's never done. Black fatigue from the choices made. Every heartbeat feels like a masquerade. Lost in the rhythm of a cracked facade, fighting shadows in a world so flawed. Eyes wide shut, wrapped in my own thoughts. Countless battles, and I'm always fought. Worn out shoes on this endless street. Bad behavior, what does it feel like defeat? Tired of the lies that weigh me down. Caught in the cycle, still I drown. Black fatigue from the choices made. Every heartbeat feels like a masquerade. Lost in the rhythm of a cracked facade, fighting shadows in a world so I'll rise again. Don't feeling weak. In this life, it's the truth we seek.
Like, share, and subscribe. Our Pain, Marriage, Politics, and Sports. Over and out.